We have returned. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. This is Beth Ann. Now, I wanted to kind of go back and explain one more time that I want you to find it. I'm going to find it and put it on Facebook. The YouTube from Life, Liberty, and Levin last night. He went through a history, gave us a history lesson, so to speak, on the Supreme Court justices. And he is a constitutional lawyer. I don't always agree with everything he says, but last night, when you look at the history, it's just telling. It's just telling. And I wanted you to know that Levin would never say this. This did not come from Levin. That there is no official qualifications to become a justice. Although most justices have a background in law, that is not necessarily a qualification. Now, when there is a vacancy on the Supreme Court, the president nominates someone who then has to be approved by the majority vote in the Senate. And that's where we are right now. Now, he went through the history of when we had X amount of Supreme Court justices, and then they brought it down to 7, and now it's up to 9. And he went through the history of that, which I was not aware of, or I had forgotten if I was aware of it. But I found it very interesting. And then he also went through the history of the fight with the Democrats over these justices, especially if the conservatives end up with a majority on the Supreme Court. They can't have that. Because, when that happens, women will lose their right to vote. It's just, to me, it's just hysterical what they keep coming up with. Now, it's always abortion, it seems to be. And it's always women's rights. It's always a sexual assault or a sexual allegation against these judges, these nominees. I wonder how many in Congress have actually done all the good works that Judge Kavanaugh does. How many of them love their fellow man enough to serve people on the street from a soup kitchen or whatever it is that he does? How many of them do that? Coach a young girls' soccer team, isn't it? Soccer team that he coaches? How many of them do that? How many of them dedicate their lives to others? Because that's not what they're doing as career politicians. They're supposed to be public servants, but they get a little angry when you call them that. John McCain was offended when Joe the plumber asked him how long he'd been a public servant. Little bit of an arrogance going on with Congress, don't you think? And it's a power struggle. There is some difference, but not a whole lot, between the Republicans and the Democrats. Now, President Trump won't like me saying that, but he knows it's true. Now, my question is, as we're getting ready to close, is Senator Grassley being a gentleman as he bends over backwards to respect the feelings of this woman who's making the accusations towards Kavanaugh? Or is he helping the Democrats stall? I don't know. But I do know that Senator Feinstein is guilty of obstructing justice, of withholding evidence. If she believes this to be true and she withheld it, she is guilty. Why isn't anybody saying that? It was abhorrent what she did, and it still is. And last I heard, they weren't even allowing the Republicans to see the letter. Why? Why did they have to wait 2 months? And why did this latest gal, Ramirez, have to wait 6 days and think about it. Think about this memory. It's coming to me. I need an attorney to help me with this. And who will take the place of Rod Rosenstein if he resigns? Actually, I hope he doesn't resign. I would like to see him bodily removed. I know you're laughing at me, but I would. I would like to see them come in there and publicly remove him from office. Walk him out. Him and a few others. And if they find the mole that's been leaking things, publicly announce it and walk him out. They do that in other places of business. Sometimes when you give your 2 weeks notice, well, then you're done. We're walking you out today. We're in a mess. And there's no doubt that enough is enough. When you read about Charlie Reese's last article on how it's these 545, including the Supreme Court justices, the president, he didn't mention the vice, the president, and all of Congress, they're the ones that are supposed to be protecting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, property, and prosperity. But they're not. We have a zoo going on up there, a charade of sorts, with all of a sudden we have this woman. After 6 FBI investigations and background checks, we have a woman come out and say that she was, first it was groped, now it's near rape. She was drunk. She was 15, which is why she didn't mention it previously. Well, why does nobody else that she's mentioned as a witness remember any of it? Were they all drunk and stoned? If so, I'm thinking, throw it out. Throw it out. It's not reliable. But we're going to play this charade out. They're wanting to do it until November election. That's what they're wanting. 202-224-3121. Make your voices heard. Do not be the forgotten Americans. If you're forgotten, it's because you have stayed silent. I hear the music. The little guitar picking that's going on. Picking us home. Can you see it? Are you in your pickup truck going down that gravel road? Where is this nation today? We're lost. And it's time we get in the pickup truck and we bring America home.